And I will hand it over to Tyler.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen. So we can get started. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another presentation. My name is Tyler Eatman. I use he, him, his pronouns. I am a rising third year. I major in sport industry and minor in leadership studies. And I'm one of the academic coaches from the Dennis Learning Center, which we can talk a little bit more about later, what we offer at the Dennis Learning Center. For those that have been coming regularly, thank you for coming. This is this is the last one for this week, but I know we're doing a makeup one on Monday or whatever day that Caroline wanted to do one for.
Yes, the makeup one is on Monday the 17th at 9 a.m. That's the participating in class discussions and presenting workshop. And there's also one on academic conduct on Tuesday. Thanks.
So, like Caroline said, in today's presentation, we're going to talk about strategic and confident test-taking abilities. So, for the objectives, our objectives for today is to first talk about how to prepare for exams. Second is to how to take exams. And third is how to leave confidently when after you're taking your exam. So let's talk about before us taking our exams. So what you need to know before starting your exam. So you always have to understand what you have to study in order to be successful for this exam. So the three things that you should know for your exam is basically the content. So what content do you have to study? In this example, it's chapters 1 through 4. So that's the chapters you have to study for your upcoming test that's happening. Second is the format. So understand what the format of the exam is. Is it either going to be multiple choice, short answer, essay response, maybe a mixture of both, multiple choice and like open-ended response, depending on what your professor wants. And third is understanding the levels of importance, but also the levels of grading with this. So is this high grading? Is it going to be like worth a lot of points by me taking this exam? Is it medium? Is it low? I was trying to figure out how rigorous the exam is going to be, with also trying to correlate the point system with it. So next, within our studying ability, we have to create this thing called a study plan. So a study plan is identifying topics on your exam. Then after you do that, you're going to break down the topics into day-by-day pieces. If you have been to like my other presentations this week, I know we talked about Wednesday the idea of distributed practice. So this is where study plans come in effect. The idea of distributed practice is you taking information, a lot of information, and breaking it down into a long period of time. So usually that's what this is when you're breaking down topics up into day by day. Next is designate a study time. So identifying time in your schedule to have available for you to study this information. Next includes strategies. So there's preparation for one day per topic. So you're going to prepare for one day that you're actually studying. That's your actual studying period. And then next is the review part. So the review part is very important because of you being able to understand the information and to retain the information as well. And then lastly is that self-test before the exam. So you going over practice exams or even just making sure that you have all the stuff ready for you. Maybe your professor already provides practice exams, or you making your own practice exams, whatever you want to self-test yourself in order to make yourself successful before the exam. So within like our study plan, we have some studying strategies. So step one is to prepare. So By you preparing, you should organize your information. So identify the main ideas, the topics that you must learn for this exam. So I would say write them down on a huge list. And you only have to do this one time. So making sure you have this down on a huge list, so you're able to see and when you have to do this for your upcoming exam. Next step is to review. So to learn the info. So this is the only studying information you're going to organize your main ideas. So you're going to do this multiple times. So compared to like step one, what you're going to do is you're going to study. You're going to organize your information so you can put them in your study plan to study one topic per day. Next is for that day, you're going to study that main idea or that topic for your exam. And you're going to do this multiple times until you completed it. So step one is to prepare. So you're going to write all this stuff down or all the stuff that you have to do. So develop your study sheet, develop a concept map, which we will go over in a little bit, what study sheets and concept maps are. List steps in the process, write questions, create outline of lecture notes, prepare material for your study group. So these are things you should be doing before starting your study plan or having some goals written down for yourself for this study plan. And then next step is step two. So it's going to be reviewing all this stuff. So you're going to be reciting your study sheet. So you're going to be trying to recite your study sheet by memory because when studying, you do need to know how to memorize things. And then reciting things really does help, orally especially, really does help when trying to know the information. Next is for developing your concept map, you're going to replicate the concept map too. So you're actually going to redraw your whole concept map and being able to understand the topics and how they connect to one another. Next is recite steps from your memory. Like I said, studying has to do a lot with your memory. So making sure that you reciting things really helps out your memory a lot. Writing answers from memory. So this is like this is like you making your own test. You can have like short, small questions you can answer per day, and then having all those questions in a big Google Word form or having them written down, you can answer it. That can be like your self-test for the whole entire studying session. Next is reciting/rewriting your outline points. So this is important when trying to understand the topics, especially reciting and rewriting does help you out a lot. I wouldn't say don't rewrite excessively, but do rewrite enough so you understand the main point and main focus, because rewriting does mean that repetition, you're not really testing yourself out. So more reciting would be helpful. And last is explain material to group. So when you're able to explain the material to your group, that means you're 100% times more able to understand the material that was taught to you. So by you studying within groups, it does help you out a lot because studying is a social thing that you have to do. It's the idea in social psychology. This psychologist named Vygotsky, he said that learning is a social activity. So you need to do this within group settings. So like I told you, we talked about study sheets, study materials. So study sheets, flashcards, and mind maps. So over here, you can see that this is a study sheet on the left-hand side here. And basically, this is just all information that you need to know. You compile a lot of different main components from this, your main ideas, and you just put it on one sheet. This one looks like it's for, I believe, I think this one is for a science-related course. So making sure that you having all your stuff down, so they have pictures and diagrams, making sure that you have different theories or formulas that you might have in order for you to be successful for this test. Next, over here in the top right-hand corner, you have flashcards. So many of you might be familiar with flashcards. I know I talked about flashcards either on Wednesday or Thursday. You can either handwrite your flashcards or you can do like Quizlet or Study Blue, which are great resources as well. But seeing the student has like the question on the front, which is great because you want to always phrase the question on the front of your flashcard, and then on the back have like a great explanation or a great answer. And next on the bottom right are mind maps / concept maps. This is where you have a big topic in the middle, so mind map guidelines, and then you break off into smaller subsections that connects information to one another. Mind maps are definitely helpful if you are more of a visual learner, I would say. So definitely utilize mind maps. You can either hand draw them or use Bubble Us. We talked about that yesterday, I believe. So now let's talk about exam prep do's and don'ts. So do get proper sleep because sleep is important when trying to study for your exam. Do continue to socialize with people. You just don't want to isolate yourself from people because, like I said, it's a social ability. There's a thing in there's social psychology. So it's to help you advance your skills and not just be focused on one thing. Do get out stress through physical activity. So either going to the gym, maybe going for a run, going for a walk, whatever physical activity for you to reduce your stress. Manage a regular diet. So making sure that you keep your diet that you have currently and making sure that you keep on eating. Because a lot of people do skip out on meals and skip out eating, which is not really helpful. And lastly is use prep and review. Don't just use prep and don't just use review. Use prep and review together for you to be able to understand the content and also for retention as well. Now here are some don'ts. Don't pull an all-nighter because all-nighters really don't help you out a lot. It actually messes up your brain a lot more with all that stress and anxiety and you not getting the proper rest. Don't stay locked up to yourself. So don't just isolate yourself from people, making sure that you're studying but also getting social interactions. Don't just sit and study. You, like I said, with the stress and anxiety, that causes that if you just study, you're not able to understand information, and also that stress and anxiety starts to become higher. Next is don't skip meals or stress eat. So I would say don't skip meals because eating is important and it's for your wellness. And with the 9 dimensions of wellness, you do need to eat. And don't just stress eat, like when you are stuck on a problem, eat a whole gallon of ice cream or having 2 bags of chips, 2 big bags of chips. Don't just stress eat, eat away your problems. Try to figure out your problems with managing your diet that you currently have. And don't just either use prep or review. Like I said, use both so you're able to understand the content and information. So we talked about before, now let's talk about during the actual exam. So during your exam, timing is always important. Time is always against you when you're taking these exams. So you might be asking questions of how much time do you have per question? So to do this, and the answer to this is to find out how many questions are on the exam. Then you're going to determine how much of your total time that you have for the exam. Leave time at the beginning to review the whole exam. So review the whole exam front to back. And then leave time at the end to check your work and see if you are able to come across any mistakes that you probably made. So using that and leaving time is really important so for you can checking up on your work. An example here is that there's 50 items and you get 60 minutes for your exam. So for that review, at the start, you want to leave 2 minutes for yourself. So that leaves you to 58 minutes. So you should do for the actual exam, 1 minute per problem. And that gives you 50 minutes. And then to check your work at the end, you should have 8 minutes to check your work. Maybe you want to do more review or it takes you more time. Just readjusting your time with let's say your review and your check, your work. Because mainly, I think 1 minute per problem is kind of reasonable for exams. So I would say keep it to that. Another thing, like I said, timing is everything. You need to understand how to manage this time. So by managing time, you want to make wise investments up front. So by that, what I mean is you're going to scan through the test before starting and budget your time out effectively. So you want to also write down what you don't want to forget in like the first 2 minutes of the exam. So maybe in the top, or if they have you like a little small margin or scrap paper, maybe write down stuff that you don't want to forget. So maybe like a formula that you've been studying a lot, you want to write it down on the paper. That is totally fine. And I would say take yourself 1 to 2 minutes to do that so you're able to not forget that and it goes outside of your head. Next is get the easy stuff out the way. So with that, start with the easy/quickest section. The first time through, looking at it the first time through, only answer the questions that you know. So when you're looking at this, only answer the questions that you know. If you're getting stuck, maybe circle or star it and going back to those questions. Next is keep moving. So if you're stuck after 5 to 10 seconds, just skip to the next question. I guarantee that most of the time on some exams that they do, questions do repeat and you're able to understand one part and it connects to another part. That's what professors like to do most likely. They might have for like question 5, you might want to understand like how to do this derivative, and then maybe on question 20, they'll ask you, okay, so what is the first step of doing a derivative like this? So you being able to look through the test first so you're able to catch those mistakes or catch what they're trying to do. And then the result is a stockpile of time for like this tough stuff. So if you're able to do this, you're gonna have a lot of time, or try to allow a lot of time for you to get the tough stuff and focus on the tougher information. So next is enhancing our accuracy when taking our exam. So we are given/find. So this given/find, you basically want to underline the information given by the question as well as what's being asked of you. Usually some students might underline like what is given to them and then circle like where they're trying to find. So I would say utilize that in making sure that you understand the information that the question is giving, and then you thinking in your head, okay, what do I have to find? Or on the paper, it should say like what you have to find. Or you can also circle, but be cautious with that. So with the absolutes and the negatives. So examples of absolutes are like things like always, ever, all. So questions like, okay, all of these except this question. So looking at that, understanding what you have to identify. And then an example of negatives are never, none, or not. So things like never, it's never a discrimination crime, or it's never a, let's say, the chemical reaction, things like that. So always making sure you're being cautious with those absolutes and also those negatives. So here are some do's and don'ts for the exam day. So do you create like a pregame playlist? If you do like listening to music, I highly suggest making like a playlist on either whatever music site that you listen to, if you have Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, whatever music that you are able to, whatever music system that you use, create a playlist that makes you like relax, or maybe you want to be like more like energetic, so energetic music. So just trying to identify things like that. Do eat healthy. So you don't want to, let's say, go off of your, keep your diet. So making sure you're eating healthy, really 3 meals a day, and making sure that you're eating all these meals. Within those is making sure that you eat breakfast/meals. So do have breakfast and meals because you do need that energy for your wellness being. Pace yourself when you're taking the exam. So definitely pace yourself. It's not a whole sprint when you're taking the exam. Just relax and pace yourself, and using those strategies for the timing, understanding that you have enough time to answer most of your questions. and then looking and how you're going to best utilize that and practice it. Do strategize, so have a strategy as to how you want to tackle this exam. If you want to do the easy stuff first, then the hard stuff, or maybe you want to do your short answers, then your multiple choice, or maybe you would want to do the hard stuff, then the easy stuff, whatever works for you and whatever system that you would like to do. And lastly, do relax and breathe. So making sure that you are calm, not too stressed out. Like it's okay to be a little, have a little of stress in you when taking an exam, but you don't want to be too stressed out with it. So making sure you're constantly breathing, understanding that this is just a exam and it doesn't test your ability as a person. Now let's go to the don'ts. So don't listen to others before exam. I know a lot of people talking before the exam can really influence how you do on the exam. Students are saying, "Oh, did you hear about like what happened in like?" I know most of you all heard that like hear students like, "Oh, did you hear like what period? Not what period? Did you hear what like section 2 said about like this question, or they said this part was hard?" So blocking out those things and making sure you have your music in or you're just in the right mindset and right mind space. Don't skip a meal or have extra caffeine. So you want to keep your regular diet. And if you have 3 meals a day, great to have your 3 meals. If you have just 2 meals, then have your 2 meals. But just make sure that you're staying regular with your diet. Can't stress that enough. And also don't have too much caffeine because it does raise your heart rate. And also it does bring like more anxiety with you with carrying that caffeine. And after that caffeine is done, you have that low bath right after. Don't spend too long on one question because you do have other questions that you would like to answer. So maybe you'll get stuck on another question and you took a lot of time that you could be answered for 3 questions if you stayed on one. Don't just jump right in. So definitely don't just jump right into the exam. I would say strategically look at over the exam and then then jumping in and strategizing how you want to utilize this. And lastly, don't panic. The worst thing you could do is panic during the exam. Like I said, panicking and anxiety and stress really is like a factor when coming with your exam because you are nervous and you are anxious about it. Just making sure that you stay relaxed and you don't panic. Taking some deep breaths, doing some mindfulness things, maybe even closing your eyes for a second, and then regrouping. People might look at you weird, but hey, you're doing it for your own like mental state. So here are some strategies or for your test taking with doing like multiple choice and how to be strategic with that. So before viewing like your answer choices, try to predict the actual answer. So oftentimes if you like really studied hard for this exam, you should know the answer to the question that the professor is asking you. So what you should do is you should cover up all the answers. Then second, you should read the question and try to guess what the answer will actually be. You can either like say it in your head. I wouldn't say it orally out loud because they're gonna think you're possibly cheating and you don't want to have to deal with that situation. But just making sure you like know what the answer is so you can say it like in your head. You're like, okay, it might be trying to figure out in your head or even writing it down possibly if you like. And then the third step is to then read all the answer choices and find the most correct answer for you that relates to the one that you were thinking in your head. So now decide what is most correct. So avoid like the distractors that they give you. Some might not correlate or like relate to the actual question. That's why professors throw that in there because they're distractors. Use process of elimination. So you're going to be able to narrow down your list, eliminate your options, so you can increase your odds. So let's say there's 4 multiple choice questions, and you eliminate one of them. So you already have like a 75% chance of, no, 75% chance of getting the answer right. If you eliminate another one, a 50% chance, and then another one, a 25% of getting the answer right. So you're able to cut it down more and your odds are more against your favor. So eliminate if they are incorrect, irrelevant. The answer to another question might be like the next question, or if it's unfamiliar. So if you're not familiar with the topic, maybe or the answer, maybe that's not the correct answer. So just always making sure you eliminate the answers that are either incorrect, irrelevant, an answer to another question, or you're unfamiliar with it. So here's a multiple choice example. So the question is, which of the following is an example of something you should do in order to help prepare for an exam? So we're going to take it step by step and looking at how we're going to answer this question if we're taking the exam. Oh, let me read the answers actually. So the answers are A, skip meals or stress eat. B, always drink extra caffeine. C, use preparation and review strategies. Or D, watch 5 hours of television. So we're going to take that first step during the exam process, and we're going to underline information that we have to do. So the information we have here is we underline you should do and to help prepare for an exam. So phase 1 is to underline information given by the question as what you are asked to find. Now the next step is which of the following is an example. This is the same question. So to yourself, you should be thinking, so the answer is, this is by you coming up the answer. So try to answer the question yourself before reading the actual choices. Then next we have our process of elimination. So remember we have our absolutes, things like always, so that's probably not the answer. And then we also have our irrelevant stuff. So watching 5 hours of TV. That doesn't really correlate with us trying to prepare for exams. It's actually it's the opposite of trying to prepare for an exam. So when looking at letter choice A, and you should be telling to yourself, it looks familiar, but I need to consider all my options first. This one, it says, be cautious always. This one says, this might make sense, but is it the best example of it? And lastly, this isn't relevant at all. So you crossing that out to yourself. So in the chat box, actually no, not in the chat box. So I would like for you all to try to answer this question. So give me a reaction. I either want a thumbs up for if it's A, or thumbs up if it's A, or the clapping reaction if it's C. So if you can all do that for me so I can take a quick look. Okay, okay, okay. So let's continue. So most of you did get the answer right. So the answer is C, using preparation and review. So this is the last phase. So this is phase 4. So choosing the best answer amongst the remaining options. If you're not sure, just take your best guess. Like I said, it's a 50-50 shot that you have of getting the answer right, which are better odds than having a smaller percentage. Now, from some other questions that you might have is like dealing with multiple choice like answers. So understand the methodology in considering each option at a time when trying to choose the question. Then you can identify what you know is correct and what you know isn't. So using that process of elimination. And by that, you can cross out the choices without the correct answer and cross out the choices with an incorrect answer. If you have to guess, do include similar answers. So if similar answers look like relevant, maybe just guess on what you want. Maybe guess and see which one is best in your favor. Still use that process of elimination, but make an educated guess. So for this example, what are examples of studying? This one gives you 6 options instead of 4. So it gives you A is taking notes, B reviewing flashcards, C is watching television, D is all the above, E is none of the above, and F is both A and B. So maybe you want to get rid of our extremes, so all or none, our extreme, our absolutes, I mean, which are all, and our negatives, which are none. And then this is irrelevant, so we crossed out C. But we're like in between A and B, but oh, there's an option with A and B, so I'll choose that over just choosing one of them then. So when you should change your answer. This is always something that students, myself, struggle with when taking exams. We always second guess ourselves. So always remember to go with your gut. The only time you should change your answers is in an event of interruption or recalling additional information during the exam. Maybe your professor said, I made a mistake here. Maybe you look over this question. I used this formula for it. There's also, you should do this, change your answer if you miscalculated something, like you catch in your calculator that you miscalculated like an extra 0 or forgot to include an extra 0, then you're going to rechange your answer, obviously. And then lastly is misreading the question. Maybe you misread the question trying to figure out, oh man, I was supposed to use the oil formula instead of the law of cosines, something like that. So making sure you read the question first so you don't have to do this, which creates extra work for yourself. So now let's talk about essay exams. So what you will be graded on for essay exams are basically these 2 things. So the content and also the organization. So the content is most important, so you provide relevant information when trying to do your essay. And then organization is how you're going to structure this for your professor to understand and to find your answer. So you don't want to make your professor search to find your answer, because if you do that, they're going to see like, okay, the student doesn't know how to flow with their papers well, or does not write a great paper for me to find the answer explicitly. I know yesterday we talked about preparing papers the right way, so utilize those tips when preparing papers to answer these questions and make sure you have a great structure with it. So some strategies for essay questions is to identify the familiar aspect of the question. So what topic of your notes did you find this in? So trying to figure out, okay, where I found this in my notes and how it can be helpful for this question and how I can incorporate it for this essay response. Next is circle the key verbs. So as you see on the right-hand side here, some of the key verbs that might appear, it might be like analyze the difference between this book and this book. Evaluate the quote, something. Compare and contrast 2 different things. Agree or disagree for a certain topic. So this will be a persuasive one. Define, maybe you defining what self-success looks like. Next is probably discussing how you can be a better student. Explaining how this author meant by using this analogy of a water bottle. And last is summarizing. So summarizing what you found. So summarizing what you learned from the book. So those are things when looking at for verbs. So you'll circle the actual verb, what they actually want you to do, so you know what you have to do and what you have to incorporate in your essay. Then lastly is underline specific requirements. So underline what they actually want you to do. So you have that verb circled, so they want you to, let's say, compare and contrast. And they said for underline the specific requirements, maybe it'd be compare and contrast photosynthesis to cellular respiration. So you underlining specific requirements you want, so those are 2 information you have to know what photosynthesis and what cellular respiration is. So what to do on exam day for taking essay exams. So number one, you should read the directions carefully. So by this, you have to see how many questions / parts that the directions is asking you to answer. And two, looking at how long it should take you to accomplish this. The second one is to plan your response. So basically get your game plan to see what you want to do. So examples are things like short answer, answering your short answer / essay question after multiple choice, or solving your problem, or doing vice versa if you have already the multiple choice or essay question. If you want it in your head so you don't forget it, maybe you can do that first. Whatever works for you, it's your system. And then next is organizing and leaving space to answer all parts of the question. So I know yesterday we talked about doing an outline. So I would say outlining what you want to talk about, either doing a formal outline or doing that concept map outline for yourself really quick so you know what you want to talk about and how to connect that information. Next is write. So time to get writing your paper. So making sure that you label where you respond to all your points of the question and underline the keywords that they wanted you to use that was stated in the directions, or maybe that you wanted to incorporate so the professor knows your understanding of the topic. Next is communicating your argument. So you should be looking at one thing is for your argument, there's evidence plus claim equals your argument. So making sure what your evidence, what your claim is, and trying to identify that. So your claim is your what, so what you're actually talking about. And then with that, you can incorporate your evidence with it when you're talking about when you want to do something or where it was at, why, and how. So explaining off of that evidence so you can make your own justified argument and opinion from it. Second is when using your examples, provide specific details, explain the relevancy, and explain the significance. So when you're looking at that, just making sure you understand that you utilize like sufficient details with your essay and your paper. Explain the relevancy, so how is it relevant to your details or to the main topic, and explain significance. So why is it significant to you to mention this in your paper? And here's an example of a essay exam question. So goals, efforts, and self-efficacy are 3 factors that influence motivation. Describe each of these 3 factors and explain how they influence motivation. 1 paragraph per factor. So you see that we circled in the verbs. So we have to describe and also explain. So that's what they want us to do in the essay, describe and explain something. And then what they actually want us to describe and explain, so if we had to underline, we'll underline that they want us to explain 3 factors and how it influences motivation. And the 3 factors are the goals, effort, and self-efficacy. And then so here's a paper on doing that. So you see that they identified the 3 top things. So they have their goals, they talked about that. They underlined what they wanted to talk about. And then you have your effort and then your self-efficacy, given that description and giving how that influences motivation. So some helpful tips, so be obvious, state your position and what you want to talk about, use like clear topic sentences, and underline your keywords. So as you can see from here, this person underlined their key information, stating their understanding like what they're talking about. So they're talking about goals in the first paragraph, effort in the second, and then the third one, they're talking about self-efficacy. Next step is to keep it moving. So you have to keep it moving when writing your papers because time is against you. So start with the part of the outline you feel most comfortable with. Usually, this can be a little hectic trying to piece it together, even if you are using like paper exams. Usually, I think probably most exams, if not some exams, will be virtual due to our situation now. So you can be able to like manipulate this if you would like. by doing this like a word doc and doing the most familiar topic or familiar part of your outline, and then going on to more of those difficult, challenging parts. Next, if you forget the exact term, just describe it. So by you describing the term, the professor will be like, okay, I know what the student is talking about. They're able to understand with like more of description and also explanation rather than you just saying a basic term that not everybody will know. And then last is the mind dump. So just don't think of things that you can't remember and you putting them off to the side, making sure that you have all the stuff written down for you in order to prevent like a mind dump from happening. Like, okay, what am I supposed to write next? I totally forgot. And then lastly is when reviewing your answers, read instructions again and check off each step that you've completed. So let's say for this example, the student had to do goals, efforts, and self-efficacy. So what I would do is write a check mark after I'm done finish explaining describing each one of these factors, and then doing a second check mark with explaining how they influence motivation. So here are some strategies for our international students when taking exams. So when taking like these exams. So be familiar with the essay terms. So justify, evaluate, all these different verbs. If you do need help with that, maybe asking your professor if you can have an encyclopedia or a dictionary able for you to get an explanation of what those words actually mean for you. Second is to use a study group or the Writing Center tutorials for practice. So like I said, studying groups are very important because studying is a social activity and it's important to do it with groups, not just by yourself. And then lastly is to check your language. So making sure you're consistent of subject and verb agreements, correct tense, be consistent with that. You want to have either present tense all the way through or past tense all the way through, not a mixture of both. Third is to help with spelling and punctuation. So making sure you look over and looking to see if you spell things right, and also your punctuation is correct as well. Next is to correctly using use of articles. So different articles that you might come across when like writing your papers, or the articles with like your words and trying to see if everything's correct with that. And then lastly is the pronouns used carefully. So making sure that you're using pronouns used carefully when describing like a person. So does anyone have any questions about the content that I went over? Okay, so if not, so thank you all for coming to this presentation. If you can scan this QR code or go to this link and fill out the workshop feedback for me, so I can get feedback of how I did. It'll be definitely a helpful thing to do for like for my boss to see and stuff for me to improve for myself. So I'll leave this up for a second. So I'm going to go over next some things at the Dennis Learning Center if you are interested in knowing what the Dennis Learning Center is. So I'm going to keep this up for like a couple more seconds, then I'm going to move on to talking about the Dennis Learning Center. Okay, I'm moving on. So thank you all again. Like I said, it was great having you, and it was great me being here for the past 3 days and presenting these workshops. I do these all the time for our international affairs, for the Office of International Affairs, and we'll be continuing to do this as well. Now, let's talk about our other workshops that we offer at the Dennis Learning Center. We offer workshops in different learning and motivation strategies. So things that come from procrastination to memory tools to stress, note-taking, study groups, gearing up for higher ed, in surviving science and math courses, which is always a popular one for most of our students. I know that we are creating more presentations. Personally, myself, I'm creating a workshop on effective ways for group projects. So be on the lookout for that for the upcoming fall semester as well, or spring semester. Next is our classes. So we have different courses. This course is our flagship course, our ESPY 1259 course. It's individual learning and motivation strategies for success in college. So this is a 3 credit hour elective. And at the end of this, you become a self-regulated learner, overcome procrastination, build self-confidence and resilience, gain effective studying skills, and also master your communication with talking to professors and also with classmates. This is a great GPA booster class that is offered at the Distance Learning Center. This is online for this upcoming semester. And I know we have a class specifically for our international students. Forgot the course number for that.
Yes, it's ESE PSY 2060, so 2060. I can put the link for that in the chat.
Okay. Then next are our academic coaches, so people like myself. So they are peers just like your peers in college. We have all different ranges of experience, and also it's a great group of us. We do undergrad, graduate, and professional coaching for 1 hour. They're free appointments. The appointments will be over Zoom this upcoming semester. I know personally for myself, I'll be coaching undergrad and graduate students. So if you are interested in scheduling an appointment with a coach, if you're like me, just looking at my schedule and to see which matches with you. And yeah, that's it. And these are our social media accounts. If you would like to follow them, I'll say definitely follow our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter with all different updates. We also have a YouTube channel with great videos on there. I know I have a video explicitly on how to take online exams that I created this past spring semester. So taking a look at that, we've been doing a great job of keeping up to date with videos of that as well. So that is all that I have. If you have any questions, you can ask me.
Great, thank you so much, Tyler. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them verbally, or if you want to type them in the chat, that works too. Otherwise, I hope to see a lot of you next week on Monday and Tuesday, also at 9 a.m. for our last 2 workshops. Be sure to keep an eye on the orientation calendar in general, because we have a lot of other non-academic sessions going on as well. I will put my email address in the chat today as well, in case you need to email me with any questions about anything. All right, well, thanks so much for attending. Thanks, Tyler, for presenting, and we hope to see you next week.